Hello, dear listeners, welcome back. This is Silke Savoni, guiding you on your journey to more freedom through inner healing. In the previous video session, we have seen how the human spirit functions when it is healthy and how life, full and satisfying, is achieved if the human spirit has been brought back alive to God and is functioning in the way God has intended it to be. Now, there is almost no human on earth that has not been damaged in one way or the other in their human spirits. The human spirit can be deeply wounded, and these wounds on the inside are far more painful than those on the outside that can be cured by a doctor. They are unseen, they are deep, they are hidden. Oftentimes you don't even know that they are there because the body, the soul and the spirit is able to push it into a corner where we can't see it anymore, can't hear it anymore in the subconsciousness. So today, in this session, we want to speak about the wounded spirit and its effects. As we have said before, humans have a tripartite nature. We are spirit, soul, and body. So our human spirit is a spirit that comes from God, and God, we must worship Him in spirit and in truth. This is in John 4:24. And we are made in His image, and God said it is good. You find that in Genesis 1:26 to 27. God breathed His Spirit into us, and then we lived. The same way I was saying last time, once the Spirit leaves a person, the person is dying or dies. And we have also stated that our conception is the most spiritual moment in our lives. God Himself formed us, and He knows us. That is found in Psalm 139, verse 13. The spirit of a human being is there from the moment of conception. And the spirit, because it is spirit, knows everything and hears everything. Now, we should, through godly nurture and parenting, our little embryonic, tiny little human spirit should grow with that nurture and love as it was intended. At the conception, the soul and the body are not developed. But in that moment of conception, our spirits contain all, and I repeat, all that God intended for us to have, to live and to sustain life here on earth. So now what does our human spirit contain? It contains the source of life and strength. You find that in James 2:22, Luke 23:46, Proverbs 17:22. It contains our identity. You find that in Psalm 139, verse 13 to 17. Our human spirit contains also our destiny, our purpose and calling. This is found in 1 Corinthians 2:11 and Ephesians 1:17. It contains our gender. That is Genesis 1:27. It contains our intuition. Colossians 2:5. It contains our conscience in Romans 2:15. It contains our instinct. Romans 2:14 to 15. It contains our inspiration and creativity. Genesis 1:27, 2 Timothy 3:16, and Exodus 31, verse 6. It contains our worship. John 4:23. And it contains our deeper feelings. And it is the place that need and receives bonding. That means love. So that is 1 John 4:16 and 18 and 1 John 4:12. Now, This is the ideal, that the human spirit is perfectly healthy. Anything was good in our lives. Our parents were loving. The time in the womb was perfect. But unfortunately, this is not the reality for almost everybody in this planet. And the wounds that the human spirit can suffer from, the damage is vast. And this affects both the condition of the human spirit and the functioning. So we can say that the damage comes through the events of life, and it may result in difficulty in sustaining life, a despairing of life, or a lack of self-awareness and identity. What now are the symptoms of the damage to the human spirit? Symptoms could be passivity, hopelessness, and or loneliness. It can be an inability to retain and or sustain healing. It can be deep level of insecurity or timidity, if you are always timid. Obsessional and phobic behavior can also result from a damaged human spirit. There is also this difficulty to gain spiritual victory over carnality that comes from a damaged human spirit. Oftentimes, people who are wounded in their spirit are codependent. They attach to the wrong people or the wrong things. It is further often going along with an inability to bond or to commit. Or you might face undiagnosable fatigue or weariness. On the other hand, it can also come in form of an insatiable love hunger or an inordinate self-obsession. All these things that I have said can be caused by a damaged human spirit. And what now causes the damage to the human spirit is a lack of nurture, which builds up betrayal and abandonment, abuse and rejection, severe shock and trauma, domination and control, grief and loss. Now, once your human spirit is damaged and you don't have the chance to receive healing for it, or you don't know how to receive healing for it, what happens is that the wounds in the spirit are not simply hurting emotions, they are part of who we are and who we have become. Who and what we believe we are, we are. Those wounds in the human spirit continue to steal abundant life. They give life to the pain in the soul. These wounds in the spirit deeply affect our identity and destiny. The wounds in the spirit become our identity. We are trapped by our identity that changes our destiny. Those wounds in the spirit produce the false life because they become the lens of pain, glasses through which everything is colored and viewed, and hence we do the choices of our lives according to this viewing through the lens of pain. And it is very important to know that the wounds in the spirit can only be fully healed through Jesus, who is the truth, unveiling the darkness and showing us his perfect truth of who we truly are. Because Jesus is spirit, he has the ability to go to any time and place in your past, because he also knows the future. He is the one that can heal you at any time, any stage of your lives. The wounds in the human spirit cause pain that affects our whole identity. These include the pain of injustice, shame, guilt, mistrust, hopelessness, abandonment, and fear. So the result is that our lives are distorted by these wounds, And also our heart attitudes. If we have heart attitudes that are not right, we can also damage our spirit with our own, out of rejection, for example, resulting heart attitudes. That can be unbelief, disobedience, rebellion, escaping into fantasy, rationalism, secrecy, self-pity, sulkiness, sarcasm, pride, skepticism, negativism, scornfulness, bitterness, resentment, unforgiveness, hatred, envy, jealousy, possessiveness, domination or control, manipulation, self-justification. All these hard attitudes can further damage our spirit. So any of these or a combination of them become entwined with who we are, the way we see and respond to life. They actually, the wounds in our spirit determine the outworking in our personality through the soul and affect our choices and our future. These wounds are not simply lies to be disbelieved, renounced and done away with, using our intellect and mind to change them. Nor are they emotions to be emptied. They have become who we are, a part of us, which is the second nature, the very fabric of our being and the way we respond. The true us is often hidden. We don't even know it ourselves. Those hurting wounds in our spirit are so deep, we might not even notice them. So, Proverbs 17:2 says, "A broken spirit dries the bones." When damage to the spirit occurs, the soul and the body lack the direction and the support of the human spirit and may become open to disease and sickness. Our spirit may be so wounded or defiled that it tells lies to the person. For example, that they are unlovely, unworthy, guilty, etc. Therefore, instead of feeding life and acceptance into the soul and the body, as it should be, it feeds the opposite, and this may open us to ill health and many other things, which we will talk about in the next video. Please don't forget to subscribe and to press the like button. And first and foremost, I want to again repeat what you need to do to be reconnected to the Spirit of the living God. It is the ABC of salvation. A, admit you are a sinner. Romans 3:23 says, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." B stands for believe Jesus is Lord. John 14:6 says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." And C is standing for call upon his name. Romans 10:13 says, "Whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved." When you surrender your life to Jesus Christ's Lordship, when you believe in your heart and you speak it with your mouth, you not only will be saved, but you will be reconnected to the Spirit of God, who is the source of strength, of power, of creativity, of everything. Your human spirit must be reconnected to God's Spirit, to the Holy Spirit. And I pray that you will take it serious and that you will make the decision and not wait until it is too late. Thank you so much for listening.